Welcome to my first comp recap video. As most of you guys would know, I competed in the GPC Summer Melbourne Cup and that was held on the 19th of January. It's now about 7 weeks later. This video is a little bit late, but we've finally got around to getting all of our footage in order. I'd like to thank Danny, he helped me out heaps on the day and I'll run through a bit of that as well. I'd also like to thank everyone at GPC and PTC headquarters, Marcos, for putting on the event. It was a sensational meet and I've definitely got the bug and really want to continue competing after this first meet. But I'll jump in to all of my lifts and run you guys through my mentality as I was warming up for all of the lifts and then as I was doing them as well. And then I'll do a bit of a summary at the end of what I learned from the whole experience moving forward and everything like that. So let's get into it. Okay, so warming up for squats here, I was pretty much under the pump. I had to warm up from my base weight up to my opener within half an hour. I thought I was going to be in the second flight, but I ended up being parked right in the middle of the first flight. And as you can see here, I'm just taking 120 for a set of 3. I was absolutely butchering that. I finally got the wraps on here. I think this is my 200 kilo squat. You can see I'm just getting dumped forward absolutely terribly. And I really wasn't feeling the squat just because of how quick I had to warm up the actual movement itself. Here is my opener. I chose a good opener of 225, so I was able to bury it. My mate Jake just got red lighted for depth, so you can see here I just sink it like anything, and I had to come up. It was a little bit more difficult than I would have liked it. Here is my second attempt, and my second attempt was actually pretty good. I was really happy with how it moved and how it felt, and it didn't quite get up in the judges' eyes. I did get depth on both sides. But you know, moving forward, you can see my wraps were absolutely butchered there. I didn't even do them up properly. I was self-wrapping on the day, and I really could get a lot more out of the wraps. I was hardly getting anything. But going into my last one, I knew I had to announce myself. We took a 2.5 kilo jump, and I really knew I had to sink it. So I was prepared to go arse to grass for this one, and as you can see, I really do have to sink it, and I get thrown completely out of position out of the hole, get pushed right over. But managed to come up. I do have a lot more on that, definitely. So here's my bench. We opened at 140 for the bench, and bench was a funny one. I had no problems with my back or anything like that, but warming up the bench, I started to feel a lot of tightness in my lower back, and it shows this 135 opener moved absolutely terribly. I was happy that Danny did choose to go up to 140. You can see it's pretty slow. I did wait for the pause command a lot. I really held the pause command a whole shit ton. We did really well on the bench. We ended up going 3 from 3. This is my 140 attempt. I've smoked this 100 times over in actual preparation for the meet, but you can see here it does move a lot slower than basically any 140 I've ever moved. It did go okay, but it was not the controlled normal tempo that I would have for my normal 140 bench. Pretty slow off the chest and really didn't deserve to really even get that lift in terms of my technique. It was pretty shitty. But here we go. I knew I had to really put it on for this last one. We did a 2.5 kilo jump. So this is 142.5 kilo. And I was hoping to get 145 on the day. Obviously it wasn't there after that 140. And we did only take a 2.5 kilo jump. But after this lift, I think if I had a 4th attempt, I definitely would have been able to smoke a 145 because this lift felt really good. I got in the pocket and I was able to push out a really nice lift. Going into deadlifts, I had a very sore back from this bench. As you can see, I'm doing some warm-ups here and you can see my hips are just rising absolutely terribly. I've never used a deadlift bar before this pull that you're seeing right here. This is the first time I've ever used a deadlift bar and I was getting pulled out of position absolutely terribly. My hips were rising up and I was basically doing a stiff leg deadlift once I broke the floor, which really wasn't ideal, and I knew this was going to be a problem moving into the actual deadlifts, but it was just something. This is my 220. You can see it was just absolutely terrible. My hips were rising and I was like, okay, I have to do something here. This is my opener of 240. I was very confident that I was going to be able to hit it, and I hit it really cleanly. I'm really happy with that. I did pretty well with the lights as well for these 2 deadlifts. Didn't get any perfect lifts, but at least it's something. This is my 255, and you can see I just get pulled out of position, and it's a little bit harder than it should be, but I'm able to grind through it pretty well solidly. I need to fix that locking of the knee issue. You can see the center judge gave me a locking of the knee call, My final one was a bit of a Hail Mary, but we did think I was going to be able to get the 267.5. This would have been a PR of 7.5 kilo, but as you can see, it wasn't meant to be. I ended up letting go of the lift just because I didn't want to do any damage. I wasn't really feeling that good in the lower back as it was, so let go. Here we are with a 640 total for the day, which I'm not too mad about. At least I was able to get something on the board that was relatively close to my best. At the most on the day, I probably could have got 662.5. That would have been everything hitting the way it should have been. But being my first meet, we thought we might as well go a bit conservative and lock in at least some of my third attempts on my squat and also my bench to at least build a solid enough total and not just Hail Mary the whole time. Okay, so that was all my lifts. Now onto some of the things that I learned. So from it, I learned, firstly from the squat, I learned that I need to actually hurry up with my warm-ups. I need to be able to warm up quicker and get that GPP for the day a little bit better. I also learned that my squat, I need to get my glutes more involved. You can see I was getting dumped over the bar. And especially for a wrapped squat, that definitely shouldn't be happening. I need to be able to stay upright. It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, but now I really need to know I need to focus on my glutes and hams to stop me getting dumped like that. For my bench, not really too much to learn. I think I need to do something with my technique so I don't have to put that much pressure on my lower back. That would be a lot more helpful in the grand scheme of things. For deadlifts, I realized that I needed to practice with the equipment that I'm going to use. The deadlift bar threw me off something shocking, and also realized that my hamstrings probably weren't there. I shouldn't have been able to get put in such an out in front position. Normally, once I get to the knees, I'm able to lock it out, but my hips rose too much and I just got out in front of myself way too much. So I need to learn to control the whip on a deadlift bar a lot more. So now I've got my deadlift bar, I'm able to train that, which is really good. Overall, I had pretty good food consumption. I could probably up it a little bit. My peaking phase, I probably wouldn't do all three lifts on the first, like I did a 3x3 of squat, bench and deadlift on the Monday of that week. I probably wouldn't do that again. I just got out of position and I ended up tweaking my back on the Monday. So I spent 5 days of that week leading into that comp basically trying to make sure my lower back was healing. It just was not healing. I kept getting really tight and basically couldn't get into any positions, and that ended up popping up on the bench and deadlift, which is an issue. But overall, I was very happy with the experience, and I'm happy that we went a little bit more conservative and were able to build a pretty good total, probably middle of the road of what I could have done. And sometimes it's best to just do that in the first meet and see where we can go. So I'm very motivated now. We've got 2 more training cycles until we'll compete again. And I'm in the home gym setup now, so there's no excuses to get everything right and hopefully improve on some of those things, the hamstrings, and overall my bench just needs to get bigger. It's a pretty dismal bench compared to probably my deadlift and my squat. So that is the lessons I've learned. Thank you guys for watching this whole video, and if you did like it, don't forget to like or whatever you feel is necessary. Anyway, that's it from me. Go and check out the Instagram. Cheers.